Okay, what is breast implant illness? I had to find out many, many years ago that when you ask a certain question of those that just aren't getting better, and that is, have you had breast implantation? And the answer was yes. Go there. Think that way. Joining me right now is Jaqueline Bourne, all the way from Oklahoma. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for coming in. You live this.
Yes.
I used to interview women who had this, and you've seen one of the tapes we did on television with Dr. Melmed. It's a real problem, and yet the plastic surgeons don't acknowledge it.
No. Tell
me your story.
Well, my story. I got breast implants in 2015. And it was after I had 4 children. I had nursed 4 boys, and I was in Hawaii, so all the women were getting breast implants. That was the thing to do, and it was completely safe to get. And so I thought, well, why not? Just a little lift, nothing much. So we went in, had a consult. They went over, all the paperwork, sign it, everything will be fine because your body makes a scar tissue capsule, so you don't have to worry about any kind of dangers. And so I was pretty excited, actually, like most women are, like gonna fill your bra up again. So went in, got the surgery. It was instantly after surgery that I had started developing problems.
And what were the problems?
Well, I started having moments of sleep paralysis where I couldn't wake up. Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
No.
Where you're sleeping but you just can't come out of your sleep. You're just like screaming in your mind trying to get up, wake up. So I was having that, and I was having almost insomnia and also sleep apnea, where I just couldn't breathe, and I'd wake up and I'd be gasping for air. So these things were happening, so instantly I called and I said, have you ever heard of this with implants? I just had them in. I'm starting to struggle when I'm breathing at night. Oh, no, it's just because they're new, it's fine. Then I started developing blisters on my chest. They were like water blisters, just all over. And same thing, I called. Is this normal? Oh yeah, it's fine, it's just the body, you're recovering. I would feel water, and I would almost feel like some kind of substance under my skin, almost like I was on a waterbed. But it was in my skin. It was very strange. It was up in my lymphatic system under the breast, and I could feel it, and I just thought this was the strangest thing. So fast forward, I'm healing as far as the incisions go, but I'm still not comfortable in my body. And that's another thing that they don't really tell you about. You have something foreign in your body. So I felt very foreign to my body for the first time. I found myself wearing jackets to cover. I was very cold all the time because I could not get my breast implants warm. My breasts were always cold, and so it made my whole body cold, and I was so cold. The only time I could warm up was just being in the sun or sitting in a really hot bath. So I started becoming very cold very soon. The other thing that started to scare me was that my ribs started to protrude sideways. So I'm very small, and so they gave me my breasts were far too big. I asked for just a fill, like a B, a full B like I used to be, and I think I had double Ds.
May I ask, is this a male surgeon?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. And so they were far larger than I wanted. My frame did not hold them well, and it started to morph my ribs. So I went into the doctor, and I said, this was a different doctor, and I had an x-ray. And they said, there's nothing there, everything's fine. But my ribs started to become squishy. And I kept saying, my ribs are squishy and they're moving in ways that I've never felt before. And they were like, no, it's fine, your x-rays are fine. And I just thought, this is really strange. And my ribs would hurt, constantly hurt. Later, I found out from the nurse when I decided later on to have them removed that is a cause. That is a common cause, that it can deform your ribs because of the pressure. Yes.
How long did you wait to have them removed?
4 years.
And you went through these strange symptoms.
For 4 years.
I'm being a plastic surgeon now thinking, squishy ribs. This woman probably needs a good psychologist.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes, all the time. Wow. I was going to doctors all the time. I found myself never visiting doctor's offices to always in the doctor's office. I was having heart palpitations. I went from a very active mother. I mean, I am a go-getter.
Yep.
I love to be on the go. Birthday parties were like extreme, you know. We had the pony, we had everything. But then all of a sudden, I just wanted to lay on the bed. The thought of making a cake, I was crying when I had to make a cake for my child's birthday.
You totally changed.
I was a completely different person, and my hair was falling out by the follicles. I just scratched my head, and I would 4 or 5 strands of hair would come out, and all the skin would be there. The hair follicle, the bulb, would be intact, and I thought, this is the weirdest things that are happening to me. I started taking hot baths because I thought, well, maybe I need to detox. After hot baths, I would massage my chest, my lymphatic system, and I found I was getting something out of my skin. And so the more I would rub, and I could rub across, it was like the consistency of silly putty.
No.
Yes. And so, in fact, I was so intrigued, I took it to the doctor, and they had it tested at the lab, and they just said it was skin.
The consistency of this, what you call silly putty, I mean, that didn't bother them. They sent it out to the lab, that says just skin.
No.
So I guess every woman who gets breast implants just makes a whole lot of skin.
I mean, I just thought I was going insane.
Wow.
I was like, am I really pulling this out of my body? And then I put it on a piece of newspaper because I mean, I grew up with silly putty. I know what it looks like. I know what it's like. And I have kids. And so I took it to the newspaper, I laid it flat, and I pulled it off, and it pulled off the ink.
So it was silly
And it was
putty.
not skin. I know what skin looks like. I've exfoliated many times. This is not skin. And they're like, oh no, we sent it off. It's just skin. So things like that were happening. I started to become very depressed, very, very depressed. Heart palpitations, panic attacks. I've never had panic attacks in my life.
Yep.
I was having panic attacks when my children were just sitting on the couch and we'd watch Old Yeller on the couch, just simple things, and all of a sudden I'm having a full-on panic attack. You know, everything was changing and I did not know what to do. I was seeing doctors. They were wanting to diagnose me with different diseases, MS,
yeah, of course, autoimmune.
Hashimoto's, allergies. Some said you need to be on steroids the rest of your life. Some said, oh, it's just Oklahoma. What? No. That's not an answer. And so steroids, I started to break out in hives from head to toe. My eyes started to become jaundiced. They started to turn yellow. I have pictures and all kinds of
You document it,
I have
obviously.
documents. I have a notebook full of my symptoms. I have...
Jaqueline, what time did you and your husband talk about this? I mean, for 4 years you had to talk about it. And you made the cognitive decision, this is all it can be.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's since the first week I had these put in. And the word explantation came up.
Yes.
Probably 4 years into this?
Yes.
You're going broke slowly, running from
yes.
shrink to doctor to, I mean.
And breast implants aren't cheap anyways.
They aren't.
So
Can
part
I
of
ask
you
what
is
it
like, I
costs?
just put these in. I can't all of a sudden want them out.
And now you're seeing doctor.
I think it was like $7,000 to put them in, probably $10,000 to take them out.
No.
But to take them out, they didn't want to even take them out. They wanted to just give me new ones.
Did you have to go to another doctor
Yes.
to have them taken out?
Yes.
And you said, I don't want, look, I'll sign.
And
I just want these out.
Yeah, and at that point I said, I don't care who, I need to find someone now, and as soon as possible these have to come out. I knew right away that they were them, you know, and you know, Dr. Ed Melmed, he said when in the video you did, it was really good, and he said the body doesn't like foreign bodies in it, and it's so true. And the moment this foreign body, this substance was in my body was like, whoa, hold up, what is this? The more you delve into breast implants, and each implant is different as far as the chemical consistency. Do you need me to stop?
No, the chemical constituents.
Yeah, constituents.
That they say are a little bit different.
It's a chemical
But
compound.
don't they say some kind of a barrier is woven around the implant?
Yeah, your scar tissue.
Yeah,
They
is that
say
right?
your scar tissue, your capsule. There's a scar capsule that's made over the implant, but that's not. No.
You had them taken out.
I did. So.
You wake up from that. Did you save them?
Well, backward a little bit.
Okay.
I was talking to many people to try to get them out, and I finally found someone who could get me in the quickest. So I went into her office, and I was really excited because I was like, surely this person is going to be like, oh yes,
she's a woman.
I understand you. Yes, yes, you're not crazy. But I told her all these things, and she looked at me and she said, this is all in your head. And this was the woman that was going to take them out. And she said, yeah, I mean, everything you're saying is just all in your head.
Not quite, just a little lower.
And I just started crying. I just started crying and crying and crying. And she left, and the nurse came in, and she said to me, she's like, it's not in your head. It's not in your head. And I think she was an angel, really, because it was just what I needed to hear. She said, and I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't in my head. I knew it was in my breasts.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I needed this stuff out.
Yep.
And she said, I heard so many testimonies like this.
The nurse.
Yep. She's like, of all women coming in to get them out. She's like, you're not crazy. I would not recommend getting new ones. And of course, I'm not going to say who it was because
right. But they're trying to talk you into replacing
They
those?
want me to replace them because it's just more money, you know.
If I'm you, I want them gone.
Because you have to always upkeep them. You can't have them forever. It's always a continual process of renewing them and getting them fixed. They're constantly linking. I mean, there's so many testimonies out there of women who are suffering. But my biggest concern is that women are being told it's all in their head. And these breast implants, depending on which kind they are, there's silicones, gel, saline, there's all kinds. None of them are safe. But you know, it's not in their head, and they're going misdiagnosed or wrongly diagnosed, right? MS, Lyme's disease, you name it, the allergies, the list goes on. And you know, it really could just be as easy as I need these out. I need to get these implants out and then start to heal. So when they were taken out, as you were asking me earlier, the nurse said there was mold in my breast implant. And I thought, wow, that's a whole nother level. I didn't even think about mold. I knew chemicals. I mean, there's platinum in breast implants. There's titanium. There's epoxies. There's silly putty. There's actually a silly putty manufacturer that was making breast implants.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, I mean, there's.
Hey, Jacqueline, how many? I don't know how many breast implants have been done, but nobody wants to shake the finger at the plastic surgeon.
No.
They're, you know, important.
Right.
But this one doctor saying it's all in your head.
That just
they're duty bound to tell you that. You know, they got a license to tell you that. You had them out. Did you keep them?
Yes, I have them still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe the ones Dr. Melman had?
Oh, I do, because I have mine in my closet. It's in a little bucket, a little container. I keep them to remind myself of how far we've gone for beauty, false beauty.
Were you, I'm sure you were taking tons of supplements, immune products, and so forth. When you woke up, give me the first week. Symptoms starting to go away, or?
Oh, I was over the moon ecstatic and happy. I felt instantly better.
Really?
I have a picture of me with all the drains and things, and I'm smiling, and I mean, I felt amazing the moment they were out.
No more sleep interruption, no more?
No more sleep interruption, no. I mean, it was a little bit of pain as I was healing, but no more sleep interruption. The panic attacks were gone. I started to get my energy back. Now the detoxing, I'm still doing that. It's been about so it's been about 5 or 6 years now, and I'm starting to see the hives go away, and I'm starting to see the hair come back, and I'm starting to see less of the silly putty coming out of the chest. But I still do my detoxing. I'm still very mindful of mold. Your books are very helpful in understanding the role of mold and in our body.
Do you think all women that have breast implants have symptoms and are told, well, it's Lyme's, it's allergy, etc.?
Yes.
Or do some get breast implants and live 40 more years and no harm?
You know, a lot of the women that I see that come into my store that obviously have breast implants, some have told me, some do not want to tell me, and that it's their right. It's absolutely their right, and I don't ask or push. But the first thing I always ask them when they're listing all of the same ailments that I've had is, do you have breast implants? And that's usually their opportunity to tell me yes or no. And I know when they say no and they avoid eye contact to leave it. But I do tell them, if it is ever this, or if you ever did have this, this is what you need to start doing. And I do believe that it is the underlying cause for most issues in women who have breast implants. It's not actually the diseases that they want to diagnose them with. It's actually the chemical cocktail that they have. You know, I was going through a chemical depression. I mean, this is chemical depression with all these mixed chemicals in the body and heavy metals. The heavy metals galore. And then mold, chemicals, heavy metals. I mean, It's unreal.
I know Barbara O'Neill talks a lot about this.
Yes.
And is very sharp in all these areas. What would she recommend? Number one, that's a tough call. You're talking about another 10, 20 grand. Get them taken out.
Yeah.
I just know you had to be a week before that surgery thinking, oh no, what if I can't sleep? What if I have all these same problems?
Right.
In other words,
what if it was all in my head?
Right.
Yeah.
What if I was poisoned by this?
Of course.
Or it was all in my head,
Yes.
you know, but you would know better. But I'm wondering, much like they say some children who get vaccines have problems there and after, and others don't. Do we all have problems by putting chemicals in our body, but we're not acknowledging it? Because nobody's going to broach the American Pediatric Association or the vaccination pros and talk about that. Nobody's going to say plastic surgeons are wrong on this. So you have to live kind of an undercover, sadly, an undercover life. But I understand now you're involved in helping other women. What would Barbara O'Neill say to someone who's just had explantation? Is there hope? Are there supplements? Are there salves? Are there creams?
Well, actually, it's because of Barbara O'Neill that I'm telling my testimony, because she is unfamiliar with this. And she said to me, Jack, she calls me Jack, Jack, you need to tell women about this. You need to tell them what you're doing for detoxing. You need to tell them your testimony and your healing process. And it's so important. God made our bodies to heal. The moment I had them out, I felt me again. I felt me. I was starting to enjoy my children again and life again. I mean, if you've ever been so sick where you'd rather die, that's a really bad place. It's a really sad place, and everybody thinks you're crazy. You know, it's really a tough place, and I just wanted to be so vocal about this. So if there's other women out there that are going through the same thing and people are saying it's all in your head, no, it's not that, you know, I would say think twice. You know, research, read into it, look into it, you know, and so I think I'm more prone to talk to them about that,
Can they contact you through OKB, the letter B, OKB Healthy, your shop, your family shop, OKB Healthy? Maybe you have an email address or something there that they can say, saw you on the show, can you help us? Somebody's got to do something. They're not going to stop.
Right, they're not.
There was a stat that I gave on my television show a couple of weeks ago. In 2023, the Center for Disease Control acknowledged that 30% of the antibiotics written were not necessary. So I did the math. 66 million prescriptions for antibiotics weren't necessary. Today we have implantation going on like it's going out of style because it's the thing to do, with no one telling plastic surgeons this is what's going on. Once they have this implantation, they begin having symptoms, they're rushed off to another doctor. Or they're probably too frustrated to go back to the doctor who did the surgery. And you saw so many and went through so much. Can I ask a personal question?
Yes.
Had you had it to do again, would you not?
So in Psalm 9:1 it says, I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. And I realized our bodies is that marvelous work when we imitate Christ and we put on the attributes of God and his natural design, and we are his masterpieces the way he designed us, just as he designed us. When we do the things and we eat the things that God made, and we live the way God intended us to live, and we use our bodies the way God intended them to be used, then you just see such wonderful healing take place. You see those marvelous works. And so it's just important to just really love your body, you know, where you're at. Be you organically, you know, enjoy what God gave you. And no, I would never have done it. I would never do it again, no.
The other women you have worked with and helped kind of counsel, given that you've been through it, did they find similar when they had the explantation done? Did they feel within a few days or a week, wow. So this isn't a one-off. You weren't a one-off. This is probably very common. And we're just not acknowledging it.
Yes, I've had many friends, and I've known they've had implants, and the second they start to have issues, I would start looking into your implants. And so, yes, miracle stories, marvelous miracle stories. After they have them out, they feel like themselves again. They feel great. And recovery is wonderful. It's easy. You know, people are really scared, oh, I'm going to be so mutilated. And
right.
But no, actually, you know, and when you start taking care of your body, your nerves actually start to repair. You know, they say that, oh, you won't. But actually it does. When you eat good food, and you eat food the way God intended and not the way man has manipulated, right? Because man manipulates food.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not the way our body was designed to thrive. And so it's like, it's just a little bit of all those things. You start to incorporate it, and you start to see wonderful healing. So there's nothing to be afraid of by getting the implants out. It's actually, there's so much to look forward to, because you get to be you again, and you get to be you organically in the way God made you to be.
You know, it's so interesting. I go back, 55 years in this field. But the same hospital I was working at was where Dr. Milmed was. And I used to see him from time to time. Didn't know his work, but as I would interview women with chronic health problems, a little bit uncomfortable, but you begin to figure out, some of them, I'd always go back to the beginning. And I'd say, when did this start? It started 5 years ago. What happened 5 years ago? Nothing. Oh, I got breast implant. You start thinking, and it's so exciting, like the work you're doing right now. Thank you for your heart in sharing with all these other women. Then they go back and think, wait a minute, it was within a week or two this began to happen. We need someone who's been through it like you out there. I don't know why God chose you or Dawn or all the other women, but women have got to get together collectively and make some noise. This is the time. We are questioning our doctors today. Good people, twice my IQ, but we better start questioning procedures that are being done routinely as safe and effective.
Exactly.
Wow, you're a guardian angel. You really are.
Well, thanks.
Thank you for the story, and thank you for the recovery. That's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Happy to.